In this video, we're going to teach your puppy how to come back when called. So today we're going to be working with 17-week-old Blaze. He's a pretty cool pup. We're going to take you through a few exercises where your puppy can learn how to actually understand the recall cue itself and reinforce the recall so your dog is likely to come back in future. For today's exercises, you'll need a couple of pieces of equipment. One is a treat bag with some treats in it. Number two is a long line. Now, a long line is just a long leash. You'll need a minimum of 10 meters. It needs to also be nice and light so your puppy doesn't notice it. There's a few things that we need to go through before we get started. The first is a puppy stages of development. Puppies go through what we call flight instinct period between 4 and 8 months. What happens during that stage is your puppy typically becomes a little bit more independent. So before the dog is 4 months of age, their recall seems to be okay, but then by the time they turn 4 months, they start to become a little bit more independent. This is the period of time at which your puppy's recall starts to go a bit downhill. It's important through this period that we continue to work on your puppy's obedience, and we also keep them on a long line so they don't have the opportunity to practice not recalling. The second thing to go through is making sure that we're not making your dog's recall worse. There's a few little rules that we want to make sure that you abide by so that your puppy's recall stays reliable. Firstly, that is making sure that you don't recall your puppy in to tell them off. If you recall your puppy in and tell them off, your puppy realizes that coming into you is a negative thing, so your puppy will stop recalling. The next thing is to make sure that when you are out and about that you're recalling your puppy regularly. If the only time you're recalling them in is if you want to put them on leash or take them home, very quickly, again, your puppy is going to work out that recalling to you is a negative thing. It's also vitally important that you stick to this rule. If you don't have your puppy's control on leash, don't expect it off. Step one, we're going to have to teach your puppy their name. If your puppy doesn't know their name, we simply cannot recall them. I do actually have an entire video on this on my YouTube channel. So the way we're going to do this, I'm basically just going to say his name in a nice punchy voice, and as soon as he engages with me in response, I'm going to mark and reward. So I use a marker, yes is the word I use. Place, yes, good. So as soon as we get a response, you notice I mark and then reward. And all we're trying to do here, yes, good job, is get a nice little response to his name. So we'll try again. I've thrown the treat out. If you find that he's coming back and engaging with you the whole time, you can distract him again by throwing the treat back out just to get a nice response to his name. Place, yes, good. You can see straight away we've got a nice little response. And if he, yes, checks back in, you can mark and then throw the treat back out again. And basically what we're going to do, we'll try again. Place, yes, good boy, well done. So as soon as we get a response, we keep marking and rewarding. So we're going to repeat this another 4 or 5 times. Good boy, yes, good job. Getting distracted again, I'll get him to leave me. Place. Yes, good boy, well done. If you run to the trouble where you've called his name, say 2 times and you haven't got a response, you might change it up a little bit to start with. Yes, good job. What I mean by that is, I say I've called him twice here, I might go, you can see I haven't got a response, I'll keep trying. Yes. And as soon as I get a response, I'll mark and reward. We don't want to call Blaze too many times, so if I've called him a couple of times and I haven't got a response, yes, I'll probably change it up. Blaze, yes, good boy, well done. Good job. Blaze, yes, good job, dude, well done. Blaze, yes, good. So you can see pretty quickly that Blaze is fairly responsive to his name. All we've done is basically reward him every time he responds to it. He looks up, he gets a treat after he hears his name. Step 2, we're going to do an exercise called elastic recalls. This is a really fun game you can play with your puppy, which basically involves them banding in and out with the recall. With this exercise, what we do is we start actually practicing the recall as a whole. We get him to recall in, and then we basically throw the treat back out. So he's starting to band in and out, hence the name elastic recalls. So what I do here is I'll get him in nice and close. Once he's nice and focused, yes, I'm going to toss the treat right out. I'm going to go and chase it. Once he's got it, I'll go, Blaze, come. Good boy, well done. And once he comes all the way in, yes, we mark, and then we throw the treat back out again. Now, it's really important that you use the same cue every time. So I say, come. Good boy, well done. Hey? Yes, good job. It's important you also make sure the dog stops. If the dog doesn't stop when you mark and then throw the treat back out, Blaze, come. What will happen is your dog will start running past you. Yes, and we don't want that. We want the dog to be able to come in and stop each time. So I'll do a few repetitions. Blaze, come. Good boy, good. Yes, and you'll see the recall goes in a couple of parts. The first part is me calling his name. He then responds and goes, what do you want? And then I say, come. Blaze, come. Good boy, well done. Yes, boy, yes, good job. You can also praise your dog as they come back in to keep that encouragement up and keep that motivation. Blaze, come. Good boy, well done, good job. just make sure, yes, that you only mark at the end of the behaviour or the completed recall. Blaze, come. Good boy. Good job. Yes. If you find that your dog is struggling to see the treat thrown out, you can alter this exercise. What you can do here is as they come back in, yes, you can mark, throw the treat down, and then you go to the new spot. Blaze, come. Good boy, well done. He comes all the way in. Yes, we drop the treat. I move to the different spot. Blaze, come. Good boy, well done. Good job. Good. Yes, good job, buddy. And then I move again. Blaze, come. Good boy, buddy. Good. Yes, good job. And that is elastic recalls. Step 3 is doing some long line recalls. Now you can start to take your puppy out and about in public, in new environments, and we can start to challenge them a little bit. What you'll do is you put your puppy on this nice little 10-meter line. You'll take your puppy out in the field, tennis court, oval, anything where the puppy can be nice and safe and do some recall work. And all we're going to do here is start recalling them in. The beauty of the long line is if the puppy chooses not to come in or doesn't hear you, we're not going to basically get a bad behaviour because we can stop them from running away. That's really important because basically if your puppy during their development learns they don't have to listen to your recall and they're reinforced for not listening, then we're going to have a real trouble getting reliable recall later on. Alright, so now we're going to start to cruise along. We're going to encourage exploration with Blaze, and all we're going to do is chuck in a few recalls every now and then. I'm going to teach you how to use the long line and we'll go from there. So let's go, buddy. Come on, Blaze. Good boy. So you want there to be a little bit of slack in the long line, but not too much. If there's too much slack and the puppy decides to chase after something, then we'll have a bit of trouble stopping him because there's going to be a lot of force in the end of that leash and you end up hurting your hand. So make sure that if we're cruising him along, if he decides to head out, you basically keep a little bit of slack, as you can see there, but not too much. Good boy. Good. If your dog decides to check in with you, make sure you reward them. So basically he's come in, without asking, which is fantastic. We call this a check-in, mark and reward that. Oh, buddy. Good boy. So I'll ask for a recall here. Blaze, come. Good boy, well done, good job. And you see we got a really nice recall out of Blaze, which is fantastic. Yes, good job. Reward handsomely for that. I'm going to grab the long line, and we're basically going to keep walking him along. Good boy, buddy. Getting further out, I'm basically taking the long line out. If he decides to come in towards me, I'm going to take the long line in. I just let the excess long line hang out the back. And I'll chuck in another recall. I'll let him have a bit of a sniff here. The other thing is we want to set puppies up for success. So if he's interested in something, I'll let him have a bit of a sniff first and then recall him back. Just having a bit of a look. Blaze, come. Good boy, well done, good job. And you can see that early work we did with him, yes, is really paying off, those elastic recalls. He really starts to know what we're asking of him. Come on, buddy. Good boy. Chuck in another recall. Blaze, come. Good boy, well done. Good job. Good. Well done, buddy. Good. We wanted to make sure he stops, and he did. Yes, good job, bud. Well done. Perfect. Good job. Well done, Blaze. And we'll keep cruising along. It's important with puppies that we really do allow him to sniff and explore his world. Remember, puppies are just basically socialising with all this sort of stuff. They've never seen a lot of it. So it's important to let them keep them calm, encourage sniffing, encourage them to actually, look at something and take it all in. Good boy. So what do we do when we can't get him back in? Because that is going to be a situation that's going to come up with all dogs. So what I do here with this, say I've called him already and we haven't got a response, what I would do is I then apply a little bit of pressure on the line, very gentle pressure, and as soon as he chooses to come in, I'll drop that line pressure off. So I'll go, Blaze, come, and I'll put a bit of line pressure on, like that, and then I drop the line pressure off as soon as he chooses to come in. Yes, good boy, good. So basically you can use the long line to give you a little bit of a helping hand. Please bear in mind that it's not a pop, it's not a correction on the leash. You're basically going to guide him to help him out a little bit, and then we recall him back in. So I'll give you another example. Pretend I've called him a couple of times and he hasn't responded. I'll go, Blaze, come, pressure on, And then as soon as he chooses to come in, we back that pressure off. And you can see it only requires a very gentle amount of pressure. Yes, good boy, well done. Get him to come back in when we're asked. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Has your puppy had trouble with recall? Tell us in the comments.